Hello, hello. Hi, Michael. You got here before I did. Hello, good evening. Happy Sunday. I just literally got done eating dinner. This gray hair is so disrespectful. Look at that gray hair. Oh, and another one, and another one. It's telling my age. All right. I'm glad my headset is working. It didn't work for me last night during the business meeting, so I had to end up calling in from my phone. Not happy about that, but can you guys hear me? This probably should have been my first question while I'm talking. Can you hear me? I would hate to be doing all this talking and y'all can't hear me. Then I'd be all mad at myself. Let's pull up my talking points so we can get right to it. All right, I got some more people on here. Make sure you let me know you're here, guys. Drop a hello in the chat, in the comments, or whatever. Let me know who's watching, where you're watching me from. I love to get new people on. I appreciate all the same people that are, that do join me, but I do love to see new people that join who have found me. So, all right, it's 8:31, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So, for those of you who are just now joining my channel for the very first time, my name is Bergeau. I am the owner of Elise Notary Services as well as the Notary Education Group. Every Sunday, I come here live, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk to you about notary and business related topics, answer your questions in in real time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So today, we're going to be talking about, is running a business better than working a W-2 job? And it depends on who you're asking, right? So I will tell you, um, this is my first time working a business full time. All right, I am self-employed. I have been self-employed for a little over a year now. So, yay! And I absolutely love it. Okay, I love it because I'm able to make my own schedule, which frees up a lot of time because I'm a mom as well as a wife. So it gives me the opportunity to schedule time for work, and then I don't have to worry about work interfering with my life because I am able to balance them both because I'm in control of both. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I went full time in my business December 2023. And so, yep, it has been a year pretty much, and I do not regret it at all. Now, what I will tell you is when you work for someone else for so long, you do have this W-2 mindset. That's what we call it. And the W-2 mindset is, you know, where you wait for the work to come to you, and then you're paid on a regular, stable schedule and yada, yada, yada. When you work for yourself, it doesn't work like that in the beginning. Now, what I will tell you is some of the cons of running a business full time is that you have to work your way up to the stability part. Okay. So I had planned to go full time in January, December of 2023. That was my goal. And the reason why it didn't happen is because my plans didn't go as planned. That happens all the time, right? So, what you want to do is if this is something that you want to do, now wait, let me backtrack. You have people who want to do this full time, and I am talking about notary business. And you have some people who are kind of forced into doing it full time. Okay. The people who are forced into doing it full time are the people who were laid off, the people who got fired, they lost their job, not because of, their performance. Maybe they lost their job because the company closed, the company went out of business. If the company is downsizing, then you're going to get laid off and so and so. And what happens is when you are a W-2 employee, you have benefits, right? You have a benefit package. You have your retirement, whether it's a 403B or a 401k. You have them paying your taxes for you. So you don't have to worry about how to figure that out. You just know that when you look at your pay stub, like, dang, they got me for that much money. It's like the more money I make, the more money they take. And then you have those companies that have you invest into their stocks, where you get maybe um, some type of package, every year. What is it called? It's called, see, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, so I have a lot of people who I know that work in the plant, and every year they get a lump sum of money, from the plant doing so well. And I forget what it's called. But if you guys are familiar with that, that's what it is. It's a lump sum of money that they expect to get every year because of the business doing so well. You know, and it's always a lot of money. So those are some of the benefits that you think that you're not able to give yourself by working full time, by being self-employed. Thank you. Thank you, Casey. Yes, profit sharing. That's what it is. They get a profit sharing every year like clockwork. And this is a lot of the reason why they want to work for the plant, because working at the plant is not an easy job. You know, not unless you are not working in the plant yourself. If you're working in the business part of it, it's probably not as difficult labor wise. But working in the plant, that's not easy. I remember my friend, she works in the plant and she's been there since it's been well over 10 years. And I told her I worked in medical. That is my background. And I worked in a hospital. And she was just like, look, she was like, I know people make it sound like working at the plant is the way to go, but let me tell you, you don't want to do that type of work. I know you don't want to do that type of work. And so I'm like, really? I'm like, because I just want to make all the money like you be making. She like, honey, look, no. Hi, Stephanie. So she pretty much told me that's not something I want. I don't want that life. And so I thought about it and I was like, maybe she's right. I definitely don't want to do a hard labor job, you know. And even though, when I would talk to her, it would be like, okay, she's doing the job, but sometimes they would have a lot of downtime where the line not working or, something happened, but they are required to work sometimes 6 days a week. They're required to work sometimes 10 hours. They fluctuate where they have to do 10 hours, 6 days a week, or sometimes they'll do the 8 hours. You got the night shift, you got the day shift. It's just a whole lot going on. And so they get paid well, but they work for their money. Okay. They don't have a cush job. It is laborious, and so if you do that for so long, you absolutely get used to just doing the work and then having somebody just go ahead and, pay you for your time. Now, I will tell you, and everybody knows this, the cons of working for someone else is that they put a cap on how much you can pay. I mean, you can make. When you work for yourself, you can make as much money as you want or a little. I'll tell you what an average week looks like for me. Okay. And I'll talk about last week. So last week on Monday, Let me see. Let me pull up my calendar so I don't misquote this. Okay. All right. On Monday, not Monday, Tuesday, I had 5 appointments on Tuesday. I made well over $500 that day. It was a good day. But then you had Wednesday. I only had one appointment. I made $100 that day. On Thursday, I had 3 appointments, but because the 3 appointments were big appointments, I made over $500 that day. Okay. And so Friday was another big day, and I made almost $500. Okay. So even though Monday I didn't get any work. I was open even though it was Martin Luther King Day. I was still open. But then Wednesday I had absolutely nothing. Well, I had one appointment. Okay. But I still met my goal for the week. Does that make sense? So when you are working for someone else, you just work your hours, and sometimes your paycheck doesn't look the same. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. When you are a business owner, you can pay yourself however much you want to pay yourself, but it is based off of the work that you get. So I always make more than what I pay myself, but that is because I want to make sure that I have money set aside for expenses, okay, because I do have expenses as a business owner. So I pay myself a certain amount and then I leave some money in there for expenses. And the money that I pay myself, I pay for my medical. Okay. Yes, I do have health insurance benefits. Okay. I have a self-employed 401k plan that I contribute to. And if you're interested in learning about that plan, Fidelity offers it. There are other companies that offer it, but I went through Fidelity because I'm familiar with them because of the company I used to work for. All right. And vacation, I put money aside for that. If you know that you want to take a vacation, you put aside money for that. Now, how do you do that, right? When I tell you that I make more than what my goal is, that extra money has to go in a pot. Okay. I'm not spending everything that I get. Okay. Now you may do that when you're a W-2 because you know you're going to get paid for sure in 2 weeks. But I want to make sure that I have money allocated for different things that I have going on. So I'm going to pay myself this much, and then the other money is going into those different things that I have put aside for future. Okay. Because I don't want to be working for myself and I don't have, any type of retirement money. What if I get tired of doing notary and I just want to chill? I want to make sure that I have money set aside to be able to pay myself. Okay. A reasonable and comfortable salary. You know what I mean? Absolutely, Stephanie. But budgeting is important not just for business owners. It's important, period. If you work a job, you should be having some type of budget set aside so that you're not just spending up all your money. Because that saying of you're one paycheck away from being homeless, that's not untrue. That is real. That is real, real. So you do need to do that. So let me go here. All right. So I want to go in order. Okay. So some of the pros of being a business owner, the financial potential of unlimited earning. Okay. One thing that I hate to see, and I know we talk about it a lot, and it's going to always be talked about because people are silly, just pretty much. And a lot of people are not a notary because they want to contribute to the community and all that stuff. They're like, I don't care about nothing. I just want to make the money. But what are you making the money for? You know, I know money is made to be spent. I get that. But if you don't have anything that you're working towards, you're just making money to be making money. So if the fees are that big of an issue for you, then tell me, how much money do you need to make to be satisfied every day? Every day. Because I'll tell you, when I worked a W-2 job, I made, I think, $22 an hour and some change. And so whatever it would equal out to me making $176 a day. I made $176 for 8 hours of work every day. And you time that by 12, I mean, not 12, you times that by 40. So 8 hours, and then times it by 40 hours. That's how much I made a week. And then every 2 weeks, and we couldn't do any overtime. So this is what my check was every 2 weeks. And if my bills ended up being more than my paycheck, then something wouldn't get paid. And it was very troubling. And it was very disappointing because it was like, I have a lot of credentials where I should be making way more money than I was making. So when I get an order sent to me and it's $40, I take it. I'm not even going to be at their house for an hour. So I'm getting paid $40 for 30 minutes of my time. I've never had a job where I got paid $40 for 30 minutes of my time, ever. And so that's how I look at it. Okay. Now you have people, well, what about your travel? And what about the supplies? Well, think about it from a W-2 standpoint. Did your job pay you to travel to and from work? Now, if you had a traveling job, like I was a dialysis tech, but I traveled, I didn't have a location. So they did pay me to travel to the different clinics. Okay. So that's different. Um, did they pay me for the extra supplies that I would use at work? No, they didn't. And it was supplies that I used to be comfortable. Okay. Not to do my job. Okay. The expenses that we have to do our job, if you're smart, you are buying in bulk. Okay. Because there's no way I'm going to buy one ream of paper ever. One ream of letter paper, that costs you about $13, 11 maybe. That's crazy. Why would I do that when I can buy a box for $45, a box of 10 reams, which is 10 packs of paper. And if you divide 45 by 10, you're going to get $4.50. I would rather buy in bulk. And that's another thing that you need to pay attention to, okay? Is controlling the finances by minimizing your expenses. Because if your expenses are minimal, you won't be crying about the amount of money that they're offering, you know. And yeah, I get it. Well, if they are getting paid 250 and they're only paying me 100, that's not fair. Well, why not? Why is that not fair? Because if at any time their client decides that they don't want to work with you anymore, they still get to keep that client. Okay? That is their client they build a relationship with. Your job is to build a relationship with the company because that company has way more clients that they can hire other notaries to work. So either you're going to do the work or you're not. But complaining about them not paying you more, that is on you because you can always ask for more. And they may give it to you, especially if they've worked with you before, especially if nobody else has responded. I counter a lot, and I most times get it. And if you didn't get it, then you know what? That sign it wasn't for you. There will be others. Okay. You will get notifications for another job. All right. So next, creative independence. All right. That is another pro because think about it. So have you ever worked for a company where they are trying to implement a new process? Okay. So you've been doing your job this way for how long? Then all of a sudden, here they go. They want to change things up. And they changed it up not based off the people who work in the job, but based off of numbers from the people who are in the business office looking at our numbers. They're the ones who created this new process. And now you're working the new process and you're like, this is retarded. Why do they want us to do it like this now? And you can't control it because you work for them. So whatever they want you to do, you have to do it or find another job, right? Now, the company I used to work for, they had this form that you could fill out online, and you could leave a comment about a change that you weren't happy about, and then you would have to offer something else that they can do instead, right? And so many times, you will submit this form and you will hear nothing back about if they received it, if they looked over it, no phone call so they could talk to you about it. And so months go by, and then you eventually forget that you even put in that you wanted them to change the process, and you just have to get stuck with doing the process the way they want you to do it. All right. So the pro about being your own business and boss, okay, is that if a process does not fit your comfortability, I think is what you would call it, is not working out for you, you can change it. You could change the process up as many times as you need to make it work. Okay. And this also can be frustrating for some people because you want to do something, you just want it to work right then and there, and you don't want it to be any hiccups or hangups, but that's not how it works. Okay. Everything that you try, there's going to be some trial and error. And if that occurs, then you just have to figure out how to make it better. Okay. And this goes with anything, any processes that you have in place for your business. But you must have a process because if you don't have a process, it can frustrate your customers and your clients. If you're changing things up every time they call you, it's different. And they're like, look, I called you last week and we did the same thing. Why is it different today? Either you can give them an explanation or you can be that type of person that says, well, yesterday's price ain't today's price. And that works sometimes. Your price can't be changing every day and every week. Okay. You should have a process to where you are making changes maybe on a quarterly basis, um, or maybe what is it called? Biannual, which is every 6 months. But you shouldn't be making changes all willy nilly because you do want people to take you seriously as a professional business, right? You don't want people to ever um, feel like they can't trust you because you're not being transparent and you're not doing things in a professional way. So, creative independence, okay? Building something from the ground up and seeing it work. Let me tell y'all, that is so gratifying. When I tell you I worked so hard to get my business where it is right now, and to see it just moving along with everything that I did, it it's it's a wonderful feeling and experience. Stephanie said, processes make things more easier. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. It's, it should not be a step that you skip for sure. And another pro, you get tax advantages for being a business owner. Okay. And I unfortunately can't go into a lot of detail about it because I'm not a tax professional. I don't want to give any wrong advice, but just know that when you own a business, you do get some tax advantages that you wouldn't get being a W-2 employee. Okay. Now, you know what the pros got to be the cons too. So let's talk about the cons a little bit. Financial risk. Remember what I was telling you? The unpredictable income, the startup costs. Now, I would not, and this is only from my experience. Anyone else who has had a different experience, you can share. But when it comes to any business, really, but I'm going to speak about the notary business because that's what we all are for the most part. We're notaries. For the notary business, I would not start. the notary business full time and I am just becoming a notary and I have not worked with anybody, I have not done any notary work, it to me would be way tougher because if you have a cushion of money that you're investing into the business and you don't have any experience, which means you don't have any clientele either, that money is going to get used up real quick because you don't have any money coming in. Now, I worked my business part time while I was working my W-2 job for 3 years, 3 whole years. And in the process, I invested a lot of my work money into my business. And there was, I won't say weeks. I never went a whole week without a customer, but I've went a week where I've only had a couple when I first started. Stephanie said, I would not suggest that either. Start off small and grow from there. Yes. So that means that you may have to work another job while you're building up your notary business. And there's nothing wrong with that. Plenty of us have done that. Okay, plenty of us, because I needed to work that job in order to fund my business. There was no other way I could do that. My husband, he has bills that he's paying in the house. I have bills. And so I can't expect for him to be trying to use all his money to invest when we got other things that we need to take care of, like kids, plural. I have two of them. Okay. So you want to make sure that, like Stephanie said, start off small, and it doesn't have to be a hurry. I know for some of you, it may be. Like I said, you have people who were laid off and they had this going. They're like, I'm just going to see where it goes. They don't really have a choice. Um, you have people who, maybe the business, their company they were working for went out of business and they lost their job. You may have people who got fired, for whatever reason. But that right there, that is something that you can't predict, unfortunately. So let me see, Stephanie. I have been a notary since 2018 and still work my full-time day job. Yeah. And there are a lot of people that still do that because, like I said, are when you're getting really deep into the notary business, you're going to see there are a lot more things that you need that you didn't think. So when I got into the notary business, my whole thing was I just need my journal, some ink pens, a stamp, and a bag to carry everything. And as I continue to do the job and I started to have experiences that I didn't expect, because no one really can prepare you for everything you're going to experience or encounter. It's just something that's going to be a trial and error for yourself. And you can share with other people so you can prepare them. That's really all you can do. So I needed more than that. And I didn't know that. And so I had to get more stuff and I had to spend more money. And the most expensive thing that I had to invest in was that printer back there. That dual tray printer. I spent a little over $500 on that damn printer. And I didn't pay in full for it. I used a firm. If you guys are familiar with it, I used a firm and I paid it off in 3 payments. Okay. And fortunately, I waited until I had the clientele to make the money back for that thing. All right. So I had a single tray printer for the longest time, and I would use the page sorter. Okay, which Notary Rotary has it on there for free, which I didn't know until later on. I ended up paying for the software on my computer, the page sorter, which I actually like that one better than Notary Rotaries, because if you don't have internet connection, you're not going to be able to access the one on notaryrotary.com because it's online. So me having the software on my computer, I could access it without an internet connection, which was awesome. But anyway, there's a lot of different investments, okay? And if you are doing more than general notary work, okay? And I saw somebody ask a question, what is general notary work? General notary work is customers that call you directly to get papers notarized and they pay you right then and there. All right. I can't say general notary work is not real estate related because you do have some companies that will ask their clients or customers to find their own notary to notarize their closing documents. So I can't say it's not of real estate, because it could be. You could be called for a general appointment and it end up being closing documents. It ended up being a deed. It ended up being estate documents that include real estate. So I can't say it's not real estate related anymore. But though general notary work is just person calling you directly to get work done, they pay you right after. Now, if you are doing closings where you're working with signing services or attorneys or title office, they may not pay you the same day. They may pay you at the end of the week, 2 weeks, 30 days. So when I first started, I knew that whatever money I was going to generate, I was going to be able to pay myself with, was generated in December. So I only did 2 weeks worth of notary work in December because I was finishing up work for my W-2 job. Okay, I quit in the middle of December. So guess what? In January, I didn't have that much money. I didn't get paid that much because I didn't do that much work in December. I bust my butt in January, and February was a little better. I was able to pay myself a little bit more money. Worked really hard in February. March was phenomenal. April, and just keep going. It was awesome. It kept growing. It kept growing. And so this is what I mean by the income is going to be unstable. All right. Hi, Ronnie. Hello. So that's a con. That's something that you have to think about. Um, if you do like what I did, make sure that you have some type of cushion. I did have a cushion, so even though I wasn't able to pay myself, I had a cushion so where I could take care of some things. And don't forget, I am married, and my husband, he graciously was able to take care of a couple of the bills that I would normally pay for January. February he didn't have to, and March he didn't have to, and so forth. Okay, but January was just really hard because it was my first month being full time. Responsibilities. Whew. All decisions and liabilities fall on you. All right. So if you were working for a company, right, and you made a mistake or something like that, it's their responsibility. And they got to try to fix it. And, hopefully it's not something where they have to let you go, but the liability falls on them. Well, when you are self employed, it falls on you. All right. Any decisions that needs to be made for your business, any financials, any operating things, all falls on you. And so this is why it's super important, guys, for you to sit down, write the stuff down. Okay. And I get it. Oh, that's just too much. Okay. Yeah, it is. But let me tell you something. In the beginning, when you are doing the planning and um, trying to figure out processes, that is tough. It is because if you don't have the proper guidance, you don't really know what you want to do. You don't know how to plan it out. And this is why I love it when you guys take advantage of the tools that I have available to you for free. All right. I've had people call me. They schedule one-on-ones and we talk and we map out a plan for them. And they say, I would not have been able to just sit here and think about this myself. And that's fine. That's why I'm a mentor. You know, I don't have a mentor program anymore because it just took out a lot of time, but I'm here to help you guys. And you need a plan. You need to know what you're working for, and how you're going to go about things, because trying to just do it willy-nilly, you're going to be super stressed out. Okay. And then you're going to be going back to your W-2 job. Okay. Lack of benefits, that scares everyone. Like, okay, I want to work for myself, but what about medical? What about vacation? I'm not going to have any PTO. I'm not going to have a retirement plan. I'm not going to have. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You have to know where to look, and you have to know where to go. Okay. Um, you can make time off for yourself. Okay. By putting aside money. This is why when you listen to those business gurus, when it comes to your business account, you don't just have one account. All right. You have several different accounts because you're moving money around. And you need to name all of these accounts. You need to have an account for expenses and operating costs. You need to have an account for taxes. You need to have an account for payroll. And you need to have an account for profit, which will be money that you put back into the business. Okay? So talking to somebody or listening to some of those videos that are putting you in the right place to what you need to do. Medical benefits. I went through the marketplace. And, unfortunately, it won't be as good for a single person. Unfortunately, they don't give a lot of benefits to single people. But if you are a parent, if you got kids, the insurance cost for the marketplace is super affordable. It is super affordable because the state will give you tax credits towards the plan. So I have a really good health plan. My health plan I have now is better than the one I had with my job. And I didn't know that I could do that. Oh, so I have carpal tunnel from my job that I used to work. And so I don't wear this all the time, but lately I've been, if you guys saw, I have 3 notary journals that I just dropped. And so I've been on my computer a lot using my mouse, and my arm has been burning and my fingers tingling. And so they told me when that happens to put on the brace. So that's why I have on the brace. But thanks for asking, Stephanie. All right, so let me see here. Stephanie said the lack of benefits is what scares me. That's what scares everyone, but you have access to it. You know, Stephanie, I personally know you. I know you're a mom just like me. So you will be able to get benefits and it won't be super expensive. Okay. You check out Marketplace and you get a plan for you and your family. And I have um I have medical and dental. Do I have vision? I don't think I signed up for vision. I don't have I don't need glasses, but for those people who do, vision don't cost a lot. Vision is like I think it was $19 a month, and for dental I pay 29 a month. You know, it's not expensive at all. But the problem is when you don't know, the fear of the unknown. Yep, medical benefits. hmm So yes, the benefits, the paid time off, health care, retirement, which I already talked about in the beginning. I have a self-employed 401k. I have medical benefits. My children have medical benefits. My husband still works, so he has medical through his job. And do you know that in order for him to put me on his health insurance, it was going to cost him more than what I'm already paying to have my own insurance? Terrible. Just completely terrible. But yes, it can be done. You can do it. Do your research. When you do your research, it will help to bring down that fear level, I promise. All right, so those were the pros and the cons of business ownership. Now we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of being a W-2 employee. So, of course, stability. Okay, you're going to get a consistent paycheck, and it is job security to a degree. Okay, unfortunately, if they ever want to get rid of you, they can absolutely do that, and it was nothing you'll be able to do, not unless you work for a company that has a union and so forth. Okay, benefits. Benefits are a plus, because not only do you have the benefits, but you also, for some companies, you can get that profit sharing, you can get a bonus, something you can still do for yourself, but that is some of the pros for being an employee. Work-life balance. Okay. Um, you don't have to take work home. All right. Now, I will tell you, because I enjoy notary, it doesn't feel like I'm working. It feels like I'm doing something for fun every day. You know, I honestly, it just hasn't hit me yet that I'm working, so I do at times still do notary stuff, when I should not be doing notary stuff, you know. So it's become my job slash my hobby that I get paid to do every day. So yeah, I will say that. But for some W-2 employees, if you work from home, you do end up taking work home because you don't you you're not disciplined enough to sign off. Because I used to do this. If I knew I still had a little bit of work to do, but it was time for me to punch out, I would punch out and try to finish up my work because I didn't want it to overlap to the next day, you know? And I know a lot of y'all can feel me on that. It's like I don't want to have this same stuff to do tomorrow because tomorrow my workload is already busy. So I'm going to stay over an hour and try to finish this. And I don't care if they pay me or not. I just because we couldn't do full time anyway. I mean, not full time, we couldn't do overtime. I mean, so when you a W-2 and you work from home, you do end up taking work home. You're supposed to punch out at 5 o'clock. Why are you still on the system at 6? So I can't say that that's a pro because you do have some people. Now, if you worked like I worked in a clinic, so when I left and came home, that was it. It wasn't no taking work home because I worked in dialysis. So I'm not taking dialysis home with me, of course. But when I worked from home for the company I was working for, yeah, I would do that a lot. Um, Another pro of being a W-2 employee is you have predictable structure and minimal personal financial risk. We all know that. It's definitely a pro. Now, cons. Some of the cons of being a W-2 employee. Limited earning potential. They can cap your salary, okay? Even if you are in the highest tier for your position in your department, that is capped. They don't have to pay you more because they made more that year. They may just give you a bonus, which you get one time, which does not, suffice really. It's like I should get a pay raise and a bonus if you made more money, but companies are not going to do that. They won't be able to make the money they want to make if they're paying us more every year with a bonus, right? So anyway, that is a con, though. What I will tell you is it used to be very disheartening for me. I worked at the company for 7 years before I left, and every year I got nothing more than a 40 something cent raise. It was like a slap in the face. And then, depending on your performance, they would give you up to 1,200. So you can get up to $1,200 bonus. I never got up to that. I think the most I got in a bonus is 900, and they taxed the hell out of that. Excuse my language. So I would get a 36-cent raise, and then I get a $900 bonus, of which they would take 250 of it. And that's what I would get. And then people, what they would do is they would go into the system and they would try to put that they're exempt from paying taxes, or they would claim a whole lot of dependents so that they won't get their bonus taxed that much, and then they would go back in and change it. You guys ever do that? Yeah. So it's just a crock of crap. Is what it is. And it really, you would think that an increase in compensation would make you happy. But every time it will come along to where we would get increases, it would be a somber day for people. It would be, it's like you don't want to talk. You're just sad and you're thinking to yourself, I would leave here if I could, but I can't because I can't afford to not work here. And so you just have to stay and you have to deal with it. Whereas if you are your own boss and you're a business owner, you don't have to disappoint yourself. Okay. But we're talking about the cons for for employee W-2 employees. So let's keep going. Risk of layoffs or downsizing. That is always scary. Let me tell y'all. So when I think I had been working at the company for 4 years, I think maybe 4 or 5 years, and we are all working. And whenever there's going to be a meeting, it's usually on our calendar, and then we'll get a reminder to our email with the Zoom link so we can join, right? Or Teams. I think we used to use Teams. So we're all working, and then we had a chat because since we work from home, to still be connected and to, um, feel like you're not, you know, not a part of the department, we had a chat, a chat where the manager had access to too. And so we, I seen in the chat people were saying like, "Hey, we just had a meeting that just came up in our email. Like, did anybody else get the link?" And so some of us didn't get the link. We're like, "No, we didn't get the link saying there was a meeting." And so come to find out, the people who got this link, they went to this meeting and they were let go. And it was a bunch of people in my department and other departments. They all got this email to join a meeting to let them know they were letting them go. And this was a morning meeting. So can you imagine how scared all of us was working the rest of the day? That is a huge con. Risk of them downsizing and laying people off because you never know when it's coming. They don't prepare you for it. They just jump right on and tell you, "Hey, we're letting you go." And they could know for months that they were letting you go. And you end up finding out. And then they don't even give you, enough time to prepare. Now, what I will tell you what my company did was they would give people an opportunity. You had a window of time where you could apply for another position and try to get hired before your let go date. But if you didn't, then you got let go. And that's scary. That is so scary and it's so messed up. People were crying. People were saying bye. It was so nice working with you guys. I hate that this happened. It was just like, and y'all expect for us to finish the day? And then my manager pops on and says, "I want to meet with you guys because I want to know how you're feeling and to see if you need some time." Like, what? What do you mean? How we feeling? We feel like crap. We just found out that some of our coworkers are being let go in 30 days. Because I think they gave them either 2 weeks or 4 weeks, before they let them go. But they let them go, they was letting them go. It was terrible. And they did it again right before I left. They did a mass let go of the higher ups. Just let people go. And I'm looking like, I got to get the hell up out of here. Let me see what Stephanie is saying. That is what happened with my old employer in 2023. We had a 12 p.m. meeting and a 12:30 p.m. meeting. I was in the 12 p.m. meeting and got let go. The 12:30 meeting were the people they kept. Oh my God. No severance on top of that. And you think to yourself, how can y'all do this? This is people's livelihood. This is how people eat, how they live, how they, take care of their kids, their family. Like, what the hell? So, yeah, risk of layoffs or downsizing is a huge con of W-2 employment. And my last one here is potential for stagnation or a lack of fulfillment in a structured role. That is why I ended up leaving. Um, I just wasn't fulfilled in my position anymore. And it it was because of the changes that they were making. They were making changes to where it no longer was about the members, because I worked for a health insurance company, so it was no longer about the members, the people who use the insurance. It was about numbers. And I always said to myself, I can't work somewhere where I'm not happy. And then not only that, I went and got my master's degree while I was working there, and I was never able to attain a position that I would need the master's for. I tried, I applied. They had what are they called? They have like this moonlighting, like a moonlighting program where you can work this position that you're interested in, but you don't get paid for it. You just have to, do some of the work so you can see how it would be. And you do it for a period of time, and then they decide whether or not they want to hire you for it. And still could not get a different position. And it was heartbreaking to me because it was like I went and, got into potential debt attaining another degree. I already had a bachelor's, went and got my master's, and the only thing my master's was good for was building up my notary business. And then the more work I started doing in my notary business, the more earning potential I started to see. And I was just like, it was a no brainer to make the decision to leave. Let's see what Stephanie said. It was my first time ever getting let go, and I was devastated. I bet I would have been devastated too, you know, because it's not just about you. You got a whole family depending on you, and that's just not fair. It's not fair at all. All right, so let's talk about key considerations for choosing between the two. All right. Um, do you prioritize security or independence? Drop it in the comments. Excuse me. And that's a hard question because for some of you, it's going to be both, right? But for the question, we're not going to choose both. I want you to choose one or the other. Okay. Okay. Michael says security. And then I got two, independence. Stephanie says security is slim with these employers nowadays. It really is. It really is. But, you know, it's all depends on, you know, everybody's individual lifestyles. All right. So that's what is going to stand in between you choosing between the two. Okay. Now, when it comes to security, that means that you look at being a employee as securing your lifestyle in your future. Okay. When you think about independence, independence actually does include both. All right. So when you said independence, that means that you want to be able to secure your own future and not rely on someone else to do it for you. And that takes a lot out of you, and it can be done. But what I will tell you is it's always going to be tough in the beginning when you get started. Remember how tough it was when you started a new job, learning how to do the things they want you to do. When I became a dialysis tech, it took me a year. And they told me, they said it's going to take you a year to get comfortable with, because I was already comfortable with working with people, blood, feces, urine. I'm comfortable with all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Stinky skin, all that stuff. But the machine, we had to put together the machine for every person every time. You had to monitor this machine. Sometimes people would die on this machine. And that was something that I could not, I just wasn't used to that. And so when I hit a year, I was a pro. I was a pro. I could put that machine together with my eyes closed, you know. But that first year was, whew, I contemplated leaving. I was like, I'm just not going to be able to get this job. I can't. I don't understand why I can't, but I can't get it. You know, it was very difficult. So it's not going to be any different from you doing a business. Okay, being your own boss. It takes a lot of people a year. It took me a year, and I've had two businesses before this one. I had a body care business where I was making my own body care products. I had a travel agency, but notary, it took me a year to get things doing like this. And within that year, though, things were like this. Now things are rolling smooth, you know, but it took me 12 months to get there. So you have to know that it's going to be tough starting out. It's not going to be easy. I don't care how many videos you've seen, how many commercials where they say you can, you know, do this and you can do that, and it don't take nothing. They're lying. They're lying. You're not going to make six figures in 1 month. Okay, you're not going to make $5,000 in one day. It's just not gonna. That's not real. Okay, can you make 5,000 a month? You absolutely. I've already passed that, and we're not at the end of the month yet. It's doable. Okay, how did I do that? Because I build up my clientele. This is my um, going on my fifth year. In July, it'll be 5 years. All right, so I'm 4.5 right now. But last year in January, I made a little over 3,000. And the year before that in January, I made a little over 1,000. Yeah. So it's going to be tough getting started out. But it does not mean that just because it's tough that it won't be beneficial, that it won't grow. You have to plan. You have to have processes in place. When I tell you, I see so many people, they become a notary. They did everything they were supposed to do. They get the phone call, and this has happened more than once. I know you guys are going to be like, are you serious? Yes. They get the phone call, and they're online asking people, where can I get a journal and a stamp made today? What are you talking about? I had a customer who called me, and they need a notary, and I got 3 hours to get a journal and a stamp. Wait, so you mean to tell me that you posted online to the public that you're open for business and you don't have any supplies? I mean, I thought when you became a notary, that was the first thing you got was your stamp. After you got your commission number, of course, you got your notary stamp and you got your journal. And ink pens, that's easy. You just go to the Dollar Tree and get some ink pens. And yeah, people do that. They do that. They get into the business and they do not plan it out. They then, they get the journal and the stamp and they go through the appointment. How do y'all accept payment? I did the notary, but um, they don't have cash. What other ways do you accept payment? So you didn't have a payment process set up before you start taking customers either. You do. I don't carry cash, and I don't like taking cash, and it's for safety reasons. You know, but there are a lot of people like me who just don't carry cash, so you cannot only take cash for services. Okay. Stephanie says here, I'm on track to make 2K this month. Last year I made a little under one in this part time. See, having a goal is important because when you have a goal of how much you want to make, then you can say what fees you'll take and what fees you won't take. But if you don't have a goal, who's to say this fee is a low fee for you? You know, I had a $40 appointment on, I want to say Friday. I had already met my goal and it was extra money. Am I going to turn down extra money? No, I'm not. Just because I made my 400 for the day don't mean I'm going to turn it down. I was already at 420, so I made an extra $40. Now I was at 460, I almost made $500. Easy peasy. And it was one signature, one stamp. So, yeah, people are silly and they are following the sillier people. So you got the sillier people and the silly people following the sillier people. You want to complain about the fees and you don't even have a goal for how much money you want to make. So you don't know what's a good fee or not because you don't have no plan on how much money you want to make every day. Stephanie says, what? The first I'm hearing this. Notary stamp and journal. Yeah, I saw that. I've seen that more times than I would like to admit. People in Facebook groups talking about where can I get a journal same day and a stamp made same day. Like what? Or how else can I get payment from them? I don't have any type of credit card processing or nothing like that. Can I do Cash App? I guess you're gonna have to do what you do. I did see that iPhone now has Apple Pay where you could do tap to pay. I haven't tried it because I have um, Stripe. I use Stripe and they have a tap to pay, which is really cool. You just had a person hold their card up to your phone and boop, it pays whatever it is you put the amount in for them to pay. But I strongly encourage you guys to not be like that person. If you are open for business, that means that you are ready to take appointments. Okay. So, next for the financial situation, assess your ability to take financial risk. This is a real thing. Okay. The reason why I didn't go full time in January 2023 when I planned to was because I assessed my financial risk and decided that it was higher than I wanted it to be. So I had to postpone, not give it up. I had to postpone me going full time. Okay. Now I was kind of forced to go full time because my company, they were starting to make changes that I absolutely did not favor. And I had to make a decision. And my husband was the deciding factor. He said, yeah, I think you should go ahead and just do what you're going to do because you already make more money doing notary. It doesn't make any sense for you to keep stressing yourself out, and then they're about to make those changes and you're going to be mad, and then everybody in the house is going to be mad because you mad. It was just a trickle effect. And I'm like, yeah, but can we do this? Like, if I don't make as much as I want to make, like starting off, will you be able to help me? He was like, yeah. He was like, man, just do it. And at first, I didn't want to put in my 2 weeks. I wanted to wait till the end of the year. I wanted to finish December and start full time in January of last year, because I felt bad because I had changed departments, okay, and they were going to be taking away my role and putting me back where I was at. And that's why I was like, are you serious? Like, this is some bull crap. And so I didn't want to leave the lady. And so he was like, if that lady had the same opportunity as you, do you think that she would care about leaving you? Do you honestly think that she would care? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know. She's a really nice lady. He like, I really highly doubt that she would consider you when it came to her making a decision about her like livelihood and her family. And so instead of me waiting till the end of December, oh, and then when I put in my notice, they told me that I no longer had access to use my vacation time and that they would not pay it out to me either. I had been with that company for 7 years. They told me that my vacation time was a privilege. I said, I earned that vacation time. I worked the hours and I earned that vacation time. And now you're telling me because I'm about to leave that I no longer have access to my vacation time. And the vacation time that I don't use, you will not pay it out to me. That's how they did me. I was so hurt. I was just like, now I'm absolutely sure that I want to leave. Absolutely sure. All right, let me see. I missed some comments here. Stephanie says she uses Square and she loves it. Awesome. I used PayPal in the beginning and then I stopped using PayPal. And now I'm back to using PayPal because it is easy to use. For a minute, they were having some issues, but I think that those issues have subsided now. So I have PayPal, I have Stripe, and I have Zelle because now my business bank account will accept Zelle payments. So that works for me. Are there any fees with Stripe? Is what Michael asked. As Stephanie said, yes, Stripe does have fees. Majority of the payment processors take a percentage. Exactly. There are not any payment processing companies that don't take fees. Now, what they do, which I don't agree to, but you can set your business up however you want. Stripe has it where you can toggle on that your customer will pay the extra fee. You won't get paid the fee. I mean, you won't have to pay the fee. So you could put the fee off until your customer. Okay. PayPal does not offer that option. Stephanie, does Square offer that option? All right. Michael said thanks to Stephanie. All right. Yes, he is. But I will tell you, he did have his doubts too about me doing it until I started using him as a witness. I started bringing him with me, and he started seeing, like, wait, so you only been here for 30 minutes and they paid you 125? I said, yep. He was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, Stephanie, I was so mad. I was so mad. I still had at least 2 weeks worth of vacation. I think it was, no, it was 32 hours, I think is what it was. So I was like, you know what, whatever. Ronnie said, I have security with my current employer, but I really enjoy the notary industry. It's been 3.5 years now, and I'm patiently waiting on the opportunity to serve my community full time. Good for you, Ronnie. I'm happy to hear that you do have security with your current employer because that's very scary. Very scary. Michael said you should have talked with the workman comp. You know what? I was so mad about how they went about doing that. I just was like, whatever, and I just left. I was able to move my 401k over into another account without being penalized because if you withdraw it, then they charge you like 20% taxes. So I was able to move it over into another account, and so I still have it, and I just add to it. Stephanie, I don't see it on Square, but I can do some research and get back to you. Okay. Yeah, I know Stripe for sure has it where you can put on there that your customers will be charged a fee. So what you would tell your customer is, I can take cards, but there is an upcharge for it. And most time people are like, I don't care, whatever, because I don't handle cash. Or if your bank, if your business bank account participates in Zelle, because some banks, they don't offer Zelle for business accounts, only for personal. But if you have a bank where they do it, like I have a bank where they offer Zelle for my business account, you can use Zelle. You don't have to do the fees at all. Um, Apple now has a where you can do tap to pay, and what you would do is you need to make sure that your Apple is connected to your business checking account so that that money will go. So when you transfer the money over from your Apple Pay, it will go to your business account because you definitely don't want any money that you take for your business going into your personal account, guys. All right. Be very careful with that. Okay. When you're running a legitimate business, the best way to do it is to have a business account. Have all money from your business go into your business account. And when you get ready to pay yourself, you can move that money over from your business account to your checking account or write yourself a check or whatever. But you don't want any money going into your personal account for business services, okay? All right. And then lifestyle preferences. Okay. Now, you're going to have this if you're working for yourself or someone else. Handling stress and uncertainties. Okay. When you are working for someone else, there's an uncertainty every day. No matter how long you've been there, no matter what position you hold, there's always an uncertainty there because they can let you go whenever they decide to. Okay, they need to downsize, they need to save some money, and you're one of the people who are making a lot of money. They can do whatever they want. You are at their liberty always when you're working for another company. um, Handling stress and uncertainties goes with being a business owner as well. All right. There are going to be times where you are going to have situations where it's kind of stressful. You know, you're going to have situations where you're just uncertain of how things are going to go, be uncertain of how you're going to get paid. I see, and I talked about this on another video. Some of the signing services not paying people. Where did I do that? How you gonna have me do some work for you, and then you're not gonna pay me? You got paid. That's really crappy, and that's not right. So yeah, stress and uncertainty indeed, but it can happen the same way if you're working directly. I had a direct client. They thought they paid me and they didn't. I kept sending them the reminders and they weren't getting the reminders. So I finally reached out to the person that works with them. And that person called them and they called me and they apologized. I had been waiting for payment from them since December and they just paid me, I think last week. So yeah, there's always going to be some uncertainties, okay, and some stress involved when you work with people. That's what I'll say. You work with people, honey, look, stress, uncertainties indeed. Let's see. Stephanie said, my credit union does not offer Zelle for business account. If I go back to Wells Fargo, I can probably offer that as an option for my clients. Oh, okay. Hi, good vibes only. Yeah, you a little late, but you came, so that's all that matters. We're happy to have you. All right. Oh, okay. She's on her break now at work. She or he? I don't know. I think you're she, right? It looks like it's a lady in the picture there. All right. So next we have the skill set and mindset. Remember, I was talking about the W-2 mindset. That gets in the way of people being their own boss because you try to bring over some of the things that you're used to from your W-2 into your business, and it's a whole different ball game when you do that. Well, the good thing is that we're recording, and you could just play it back. So, some of the entrepreneurial traits that you may already possess, and this will make it easier for you to transition over into being your own boss. Self motivating. Are you able to motivate yourself? Being able to adapt to change and being a good problem solver. If you possess any of those traits, then you are already well on your way to being able to run a business on your own. You are welcome. Now, W-2 traits. Teamwork. You prefer to work as a team. When you are your own boss, it's just you. You are the team. You have a whole bunch of different roles that you play and a bunch of different hats that you got to wear. You are your own team. But if you prefer to work with people, then, that's a W-2 trait. Structure adherence. Being able to have a structure laid out for you and adhering to it instead of making your own. It's a W-2 trait. And reliability. Okay. Relying on someone else to do most of what it is that needs to be done and delegating tasks onto you. If you are a person who prefers teamwork and structure adherence and relying upon others to delegate, then being a business owner may be a little difficult for you. Doesn't mean that you can't do it, but it means that it could hold you back from being able to do it easier than a person who already possesses the trait of being self motivating, adapting to change, and being a good problem solver. Because those are all traits that you're going to need running your own business. Trust me. All right. And lastly, okay, it says here share personal experiences of transitioning between employment and business ownership. I told you guys that. I pretty much sprinkled that in here and there. It has been a great experience for me. And I love being able to give back to my community. There have been times where I didn't charge for my services at all. I had a promotion when I relocated because I recently moved from one area to another, you know, almost 2 hour difference. And when I first came to my new area, for the whole month that I was here and open, I offered free services in exchange for a review. And people were like, they didn't feel comfortable coming to me and not paying me anything. But I told them I wanted to, be able to meet people so that you know that I'm here. I want you to spread the word. So you're compensating me by spreading the word, letting other people know that I'm here. And when they did that, I did see an increase in business in this area. So now people know I'm here, and it worked out for me so well. And it made me happy to be able to provide services for people because for some of the people who came to me, they needed that free service. And I do plan to do that again. I think it's a really good promotion um, to, you know, you're just giving back, and that's important because you don't realize you get so much more when you give. You get so much more than what you gave when you give. All right. And that's just the type of person I am. That's why I do what I do for you guys as well. I do have some resources and tools that I give you guys that you got to pay for. But for the most part, let me tell you, I think I made, for the whole year, my academy, I made less than, I'm trying to think, was it like, did I make 500 for the whole year from my academy? I make very little. And it's because my academy is not a part of my notary business. My notary business is where I make my money. My notary academy is where I give back. You know what I mean? Like I said, some things do cost because, if I feel like I put a whole lot of time and effort into that, then yeah, it's a cost for it. But most things are free, and it's just something that I felt like I wanted to do for you guys, you know? All right, Ronnie O. When you give back, it definitely comes back to you, sometimes the same day. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, Ronnie. Let me see. Highlight success stories from entrepreneurs and professionals. I kind of did that already. And mistakes to avoid and lessons learned. Whew. Mistakes to avoid. I just said the one. Do not put yourself saying you're available for services and you don't have your supplies. You don't have a way for people to pay you other than cash. Um, you want to make sure that you have everything you need, guys. Everything you need. You want to make sure that you have a phone people can reach you on. Okay. You want to make sure communication is very open. Okay. People don't like when it's difficult to get in contact with a person for services, as you wouldn't either, right? Think of when I think about how my business is set up. I have my business set up with me as the customer. And I know how particular I am as a customer. So I have my business set up with me as the picky customer. And it works. And I kind of feel like that's how everybody should be. I think that you should put yourself in the customer's place and look at your business. Look at your business as the customer. Are you offering everything to meet your own needs as a customer? And if the answer is no, then you have some work to do. If the answer is yes, then you are on your way. Okay. All right, guys. So, do you have any questions? Any questions about um, going from W-2 to self-employed? Do you have any stories that you want to share? Okay, good vibes only. What question do you have? I'm so happy that all of you guys joined me tonight to talk to me and um, give me some more to talk about. All right, good vibes only. How long did you give your services at no charge before you started charging, and how did you transition onto charging? Well, um, when I moved, it was a promotion. That's what I called it. It was a promote. It was a getting to know my neighborhood promotion, I think, or um, it was something like that. But it was a promotion that I ran for a whole month, so 30 days. And after that, I started charging my regular charge. I've always charged fees for my services. I just decided to run that promotion because I had moved to a new location. Michael Perry, speaking of a phone, would you suggest using your personal phone for business or not? Um, I use my personal phone for all of my business except my travel agency and my notary business. I use my personal phone and I just had another phone number for it. So I used Google Voice and I had Google Voice forward all of the phone calls that came in to my phone number. My phone number would never show up on the caller ID when I made calls because I would use the Google Voice app to make outgoing calls. And when people would use the Google Voice number for incoming to me, it would show their caller ID on my phone and I would just answer it. So there's nothing wrong with you using a personal phone. Just I would, at least get a different phone number though. And some cell phones, so I have my notary business cell phone here. It has two SIM cards on it. It's a newer model, so I can do that. I have two SIM cards on here, which means I have two phone numbers on here, one for the notary education group and one for my notary service. So I would say starting out, absolutely use your personal phone. Just get a new number for that um, phone line. And good vibes only. Does that answer your question? Ronnie one. When one becomes full time, what's your thought on brick and mortar versus home base? Oh, me and my husband just talked about this. So my dad, he suggested that I get a office space. He was like, he thinks that it would be good for business. And so I asked my husband about it. My husband said, why would you get an office space when you have your own office here at the house? And I'm like, well, so that way I could take walk-ins, instead of me having to have everybody make an appointment. People could just come when I'm here and, get services. And so to him, he's like, I think it would be an unnecessary expense. And so for me, I won't be doing that. I was thinking about doing it because I was saying not only would I be able to have customers do walk-ins, but I could teach. I could have people come in person because a lot of people have asked me if I offer in-person classes, and I don't have a space to do that, you know. And so I thought of having an office outside of my home so that I can host classes maybe once a month, where I would do a few days, to where people can come in and be there in person. So I think it's all dependent on what you want to do with your business. You know, I may very well do that somewhere down the line, but right now I'm just going to be working from home. I do have my own office here. My other house I was in, I had to convert half of my living room into an office. But here at my new house, it's actually more rooms here. So I have one whole room with a door and a closet for my office. So this room that you guys see me in, this is the actual room and it's my office. And I have customers come here and they come, I close the door, I service them, and then I let them back out. Okay, good. Google Vibes. Google Vibes only. Sorry. Does Google Voice allow you to like turn off calls so it doesn't just continuously ring? Yeah, you can ignore a call. You mean like ignore it? Yeah, it'll allow you to ignore a call. You just want to make sure that you because it rings your phone. It's forwarding the phone call to your phone. So just how you would ignore a call on your actual phone, you can ignore the call just like that. Michael, you are very welcome. Okay, yes, good vibes only. Yeah, Ronnie, it just depends on how you want to set your business up. If you are comfortable, like I'm comfortable with customers coming to my home, I don't mind. But if you're not, then maybe look into office space. When I was looking into office space a couple excuse me, a couple of years ago, it was expensive. They wanted the cheapest one I found, they wanted like 700 something for the month. And I'm like, that's a lot, that's a lot of money because I have other expenses, and that was expensive for me. I did have a client who had his own office and he was going to rent space to me, and I was going to pay him 500 a month for that. But I ended up relocating, so I won't be able to use his space anymore. But I had considered doing it. Good vibes only. Will it allow it to ignore it for a certain time span? So it will be just like you ignore calls on your phone. Now, if you're talking about a do not disturb, you can do that. You can go onto Google settings on the app on your phone, and you can put do not disturb, and people will call you and it will go right to voicemail instead of ringing your phone. Is that what you're talking about? Please think of safety and having an office space. Yes. So when I when I first considered having people come to my home office, I considered safety, of course, because I'm a woman. So I in my neighborhood, I had two police officers that stayed on my street. So that was one. I had an alarm system and I had cameras that recorded. That was two. I was never home alone at any time because I do have my dad staying with me. So I had someone there at all times. And people knew I wasn't there alone. That's one. And then I have a taser and I have pepper spray. And I know that kind of sounds harsh, but when a person wants to do you harm, they don't care. They don't care. And you have to make sure that you have all bases covered. Okay. Fortunately for me, in the years that I have been doing notary, I have never been threatened. I have never felt unsafe. But that doesn't mean that I don't pay attention to my surroundings. I absolutely pay attention to my surroundings. When I go to people's home, I like to make sure that I am sitting to where I can see the door. Make sure that wherever I decide to sit, I can easily get up and run to the exit. Okay, these are all things that you want to absolutely make sure of all the time. Anywhere you go, whether you're out or the person's coming to you. For the first 2 years that I did notary, I would meet a person at the nearest plaza near me. The plaza near me had a Starbucks and a Panera. I would always meet people there. If people needed copy services, I would meet them at the FedEx because I had a FedEx near me and a UPS. Where I used to live, everything was in close proximity, so I was never going more than 2 miles anywhere that I was meeting people. I also stayed in an apartment complex the first year that I was a notary, and I would have people meet me at the front office of the apartment building. And I stayed in a huge apartment complex, so it would be really difficult for somebody to see where I lived, because I would just have them meet me at the front office. And the people in the front office were fine with me taking people in there because they would let people come in there to use. It was like a area where you could use a computer and do printing, so they didn't mind. I could have a person come in there as long as they were open. We sign everything and they leave. So, Michael, thank you for bringing that up. Safety is always a priority, guys. Um, it would be the same if you had an office space, though. I mean, think about it. If you rent an office space, if you don't have other people working in there with you, you're going to be by yourself, you know? And in a public office space, you may not have all of the equipment like I said I had. I have cameras in my home. I have an alarm system. Well, if unless you put cameras in that office space, there's not going to be cameras in there. There'll probably be cameras in the hallway where they'll see somebody coming in there. They'll see them leave, and they'll never see you leave if they did something to you, So there are risks safety risk in anything that you do. You know, you have people who never leave their house because they're afraid that somebody's going to do harm to them, not knowing that a person can come to your house and do harm to you. So you just have to be safe in anything that you do. You know, when I worked in the hospital in medical, I felt unsafe at times, especially if somebody came in there and they were irate. Don't forget, in hospitals, they've had people locked. We've been on lockdown before. A person coming there with a firearm, and they're threatening people because somebody told them they can't do something, or it don't matter. You got to be safe everywhere you go. So this is life. Just we don't live in a friendly world. We really don't. You got some friendly people in it, but it's definitely not a friendly world. Hi, Reggie. Good evening. Thanks for joining. I'm about to get off in a minute, though. What did Michael say? Firearm training is great. Firearm training is great, but if you are trained to use a firearm and you're still afraid to use it, it really doesn't do you any good. So I know people who have concealed weapon. They had the training and they are terrified of having to ever use it, so they don't carry it, or so it really don't matter. It's just everybody just got to be safe. We just got to pay attention. And I personally wouldn't want to ever have to use a firearm. That's why I do have a taser. I do have pepper spray. um, I have something to give me the opportunity to get away from my aggressor if I have to. All right, guys. Well, these were some good questions. You guys have any more questions for me? Any more questions before I let you guys go? I'm gonna wait a little longer because I know sometimes there's a lag when a person is typing and I don't see it. Then I'll end up ending the session and then I'll see that somebody was typing and I'm like, oh no, now I can't answer the question. So I'm gonna wait just a little bit to see if anybody's question pops up on my screen. Oh, here it is. Ronnie, awesome point, Michael. I am in law enforcement but do not use my home address for services. However, my office is home. Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, wait, what do you mean? Okay, your office is home, but you don't use. Yeah, like for Google, you could just use a service area. Um, they're starting to crack down on that though now. So if you have not already been listed on Google and you are looking to do this now, they are cracking down on people using a service area. They're trying to have it where businesses have a location now, which I think sucks. But you know, Google can do whatever Google wants, and there's nothing we can do about it. See, that's why I said I was going to wait, because sometimes if you're typing, I won't see it. It'll be like a delay, and then I'll be to end it the live, and then I'll see it pop up, and it's like, oh, dang. Ronnie, yes, they are. I had to submit a video. Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. At least your video was approved. You have some people, they're not even doing that. They're like, if you don't have a physical location, it's like, really? You know how many people work from home now? That became a thing because of COVID. So everybody, even the city where I was working in, they even passed it where they were approving home-based businesses in the HOA communities because a lot of businesses had to give up their brick and mortar to come home. Good vibes only. Thank you for your time. My break's almost up. Bye, y'all. Bye, good vibes only. Thanks for joining us. Carlos has a wedding on February 3rd. All right, good. Awesome. I hope that you guys get a lot of wedding requests for Valentine's Day. Let me see. What day is Valentine's Day on? Oh, it's on a Friday? Oh yeah, that weekend gonna be bumping. So hopefully y'all get some requests for that. All right. Up. Let me see. Michael says he too has law enforcement training. All right. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Oh, well, there you go. He has a wedding on Valentine's Day. Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. I knew somebody would because I'm like, it's a Friday too. People like to, when the Valentine's Day falls on the weekend, a lot of people gonna be doing it. So I wonder how many people got married yesterday. 12525. People love to get married on um those repetitive dates that got the same numbers in it. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get off. Yes, Reggie, I did see that too. I saw that on Facebook. You got your arm tatted. All right, guys. Well, I am going to sign off. I want to thank everybody for joining me and talking with me tonight. We had a really good discussion. I really enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you found this video to be helpful for others, please share it. If you like the video, please like it. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that bell because if you don't subscribe, you won't be notified when I go live and then you'll miss out. Okay? So I'm going to go. Everybody have a wonderful week and I will see you guys again next Sunday. Bye.